everybody pretty interested in the moon. Moon videos do really well in terms of the amount of attention they receive. Moon videos receive more attention than any other object in the solar system. And I think it's because we can walk outside and see the moon. And there's no guesswork. And those of us who've been watching the moon for decades notice changes in the orientation of the phase. Many of the gibbous moons are never symmetrical. There's just a cut-off piece to a full moon. But lately, in the last decade, people have been reporting on the symmetry of the gibbous moon, wondering why sometimes the moon appears egg-shaped and why other times it appears to be like a potato chip. But the most recent and obvious changes in the phase, other than these supermoons we're having, is that the bottom portion of the moon appears to be missing. It's just something weird about that shadow cutting off the bottom of the moon. And this shows up in the lake crescent, the half moon, and even just beyond the half moon, we notice that the southern portion of the moon is changed. And the gibbous moons, they're changing. It's just there's some bizarre shapes being seen that we're not quite used to seeing. But most notably, last month and this month was the missing of the southern portion of the moon to fill out the symmetry. And the reason this is happening is because the moon is lower in its orbit than it's supposed to. It's further beneath the ecliptic than it's supposed to. And in fact, you notice the second picture on the top, you see a perfectly half moon. That's been occurring quite regularly, but this past month, the moon was slightly less and slightly more than half. And that was kind of weird. We missed the half moon this past month. Another thing that should not be happening, and should never happen, is a blood moon during the half moon phase. That just shouldn't be happening, and there's things that can account for that, like increased ellipticality. If the moon is way further out, it'll catch a shadow that it normally wouldn't catch. And so again, it's more proof that this very incredible times to be going through and witnessing. Remember, we reported on the very first phase disturbance of the moon. It occurred July 2nd, 2015. We had been reporting on the changes in the orientation of the phase, but not the phase itself. On June 30th, we had a full moon, 99% full moon, and then on July 1st, we had a gibbous moon, just the start of a gibbous moon, and then July 2nd, the moon reverted back to one of the largest supermoons I've ever seen. Also, the more and more people are buying these nice telescopes and amplifying the magnification by attaching a camera with a zoom and getting some bizarre images off the surface of the moon. And there are some pretty bizarre moon videos out there. Will kind of make you scratch your head, and very intriguing. One channel by John Leonard Walson has some extremely bizarre stuff, and a lot of the other channels feature orbs leaving craters or returning to craters, flying in and out of the shadow of the moon. Very, very telling video. And some of those are still on the internet. But this phase to me is the one that gets me, because we never used to see it. And they'll go through a moon phase calendar now and they all have this phase. But it did, when it first showed up, people weren't really talking about it in the scientific community. It was mainly the the YouTube community and the conspiracy community have been talking about this bizarre phase where the moon is barely lit during daylight, and it's part of the new moon cycle. And to me, we used to get a new moon. You can see the moon for 4 days in a row sometimes, 5 days in a row, but now you can't. So keep taking pictures of the moon. To me, it's hard to get a good camera phone picture. Even a digital camera is sometimes hard to focus correctly on the moon and get the right lighting, and so you can see the details and the structures. But keep trying, and enjoy the show. And the second day after a new moon, you want to look to the west when it's still daylight and try to find that little sliver. It's bizarre to me when you see it with your naked eye. And the new moon phases, they do show these new moon phases. You can see on Friday looks like the 6th. Sorry, it's blurred. And then Monday the 9th, you can see that phase I'm talking about that you never used to see. And even now, when they represent it's still hard to see. So it's a pretty cool thing to see. And again, if you've got some interesting images of the moon, feel free to contact the channel. We'll advertise your video and put your link up for you. But some of these amateur pictures, people say, oh, it's whatever, it's fixing of the picture, it's a lens anomaly, it's fake. But if you fake a picture, why are you going to make it such poor quality? The only reason you have poor quality is high zoom and pixelization. So people are finding more and more strange objects on the moon. Stay tuned, because we're going to be doing some more moon videos as well. The moon's doing some bizarre things. Right now it's extremely far away. It's probably one of the smaller full moons you'll ever see, and it was. But that type of ellipticality then lends itself to phase changes. The moon will slow down further away and accelerate as it gets closer to Earth and rush through a phase. Sometimes it seems like the crescent phase hangs on forever, and sometimes it seems like we blow right through the phases. So it bears watching. It's a light show. It really is a light show, and it's been foretold. So those of you who are surprised by it need not be. So until next time, keep an eye on the sky. You know why? The sky don't lie. Grammar police are going to have fun with that one.